Deep in the heart of the vast African savanna, where the golden light of sunrise paints the endless land, our story begins. Here, under an impossibly blue sky, lived Kairo, a young lion whose coat shone like polished bronze. Though born into a powerful pride, a restless energy pulsed within him. He yearned for more than just the roar and the rule. He longed to truly understand what it meant to be a king of these grasslands. From his earliest days, Kairo was a keen observer. He watched the silver-maned elders, their bodies a roadmap of battles fought and territories held. He saw the lionesses, their devotion both tender and fierce as they nurtured and fed the pride. He watched the cubs, their playful tumbles and tiny roars echoing the legacy they would one day inherit. He loved his family. This intricate web of life, yet a quiet fear gnawed at him. He felt like an outsider, a prince who wasn't sure he possessed the heart of a king. Did he truly belong? One sweltering afternoon, as the pride sought refuge from the heat beneath the shade of acacia trees, Kairo's restlessness led him further than he'd ever gone before. A strange chill crept into the air, and the tall grasses seemed to whisper warnings. A subtle, yet undeniable, shift rippled through the land. On the horizon, a dark line appeared, growing larger, more defined. It was a rival coalition of lions powerful, hungry, and relentless. They were led by a fearsome brute named Zira, whose face was a tapestry of scars, each one a silent story of a battle won. The elders of Kairo's pride felt the threat immediately. The ground itself seemed to tremble with the silent, heavy pacing of paws. The pride stirred, a low growl rising from their collective chests. Kairo's heart hammered against his ribs. Every instinct screamed at him to flee, to hide, to disappear into the tall grass. But something held him fast, a strange and unfamiliar feeling blooming in his chest. It was a new resolve. In that tense moment, a profound realization dawned on him. Being a king wasn't just about echoing the roars of his ancestors. It was about making a choice, about standing your ground when fear threatened to sweep you away. That evening, the sky bled into a deep, foreboding red. Under this dramatic canopy, Zira's coalition made their move. The night erupted into a symphony of chaos, the clash of claws on hide, the thunder of heavy bodies colliding, the deafening roars of challenge echoing across the plains. Kairo watched, frozen for a moment, as his father, the reigning king, charged headfirst into the fray. He saw the lionesses form a protective wall around the cubs, their courage a blazing fire. Roars of defiance were swallowed by the sheer scale of the conflict. Then, the unthinkable happened. Kairo's father faltered, a deep wound slowing his powerful charge. A wave of both hope and terror washed over the pride. It was in that moment of collective gasp of suspended time that Kairo stepped forward. His muscles trembled, his breath came in ragged gasps, but his eyes were a blaze of pure determination. He opened his mouth and let out a roar so raw, so utterly pure, that it sliced through the cacophony. For a beat, everything stopped. The opponents paused. The savannah itself seemed to hold its breath. Seeing their chance, the lionesses moved as one, a synchronized wave of fury, and then Kairo charged. The rival leader Zira turned his attention from the wounded king and advanced toward the young lion. For a heart-stopping moment, time froze. Then, with a magnificent leap, Kairo met him. The clash was brutal, a whirlwind of teeth and claws. But Kairo's courage, born of love for his pride, outshone his lack of experience. In that fiery crucible of combat, Kairo finally understood the truth. Being a king meant offering your very self when the moment demanded it. When the first light of dawn broke once more, painting the sky in soft pastels, the battlefield was quiet. The rival coalition had been driven off, their ambitions shattered against the unyielding wall of the pride's courage. The family gathered, their eyes reflecting a mixture of awe and pride as they looked upon Kairo. His father, wounded but alive, gave a slow, deliberate, not a king's acknowledgement of his successor. The lionesses nuzzled their cubs, who let out triumphant, squeaky roars. Kairo stood tall atop a small rise, his mane catching the morning light, a symbol of a new era. The entire savannah seemed to exhale in relief. Kairo looked out across his home, the swaying grasses, the life-giving watering hole, the distant, ancient trees, and for the first time, he felt a profound, unshakable connection to it all. He understood now that a true king doesn't rule through fear. A true king protects his own by standing firm when all expect him to. by bearing the immense weight of leadership not with arrogance, but with humility and love. Years passed. Kairo's mane grew thick and dark, a magnificent crown framing a face now marked with honorable scars, each one a memory, a lesson. He guided the pride with a wisdom that seemed ancient, leading them through droughts and seasons of plenty, through challenging hunts and peaceful days. He taught the young cubs the most important lesson he had ever learned: that courage is not the absence of fear, but the choice to act in spite of it. As twilight fell each day, melting the sky into a masterpiece of orange and purple, Kairo would ascend his favorite rocky outcrop, and he would roar. The sound, deep and resonant, rolled across the plains, over rivers, and into the distant hills. It was a roar of triumph, not just over rivals but over his own doubt, his own fear, his own youthful uncertainty. As the first stars pricked the velvet night, the young cubs would nestle against their mothers, their eyes shining as they watched their king. Kairo would lower his great head, nuzzle them gently, and a look of deep peace would settle on his face. The wind would carry his silent promise across the land. The roar is ours because we dared to answer its call. Thank you so much for joining us on this journey. If you were inspired by Kairo's story, don't forget to like, subscribe, and ring that bell so you don't miss our next adventure.